Hello, I'm horceror. I want to find out what makes every single killer tick. There's one big glaring issue with that though. I play the Nemesis, essentially only the Nemesis. I physically cannot get thousands of hours of experience on every single character. So, I'm going to be interviewing people that do have those thousands of hours. One for every single killer. Welcome to Stars of the Fog. Alright, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Stars of the Fog. Today's killer is one that, well, is based on a movie, a cornerstone of the horror franchise, Sadako the Onryo from Ringu. My guest today is one whose name is essentially synonymous with Sadako in DBD, OnePumpWillie.
Ahoy!
And rather than try to introduce them, I'm going to let them do it themselves. So, who are you? What are you known for? And why Sadako?
My name is OnePumpWillie. That's how I got the name. It's a different story. It's Fortnite related. Don't worry, it's not bad. I really like Onryo because she can just straight up Mori people. It was love at first Mori. I actually didn't think that I was going to like her at first. Like most people didn't. Most people got the killer and was like, what the heck, this killer's doo-doo. So, because I wanted to get my money's worth, I took her into a custom game with a couple of buddies, and I found out that you could just straight up Mori people with her, and that was pretty cool.
Did your friend appreciate being Mori that quickly?
Not really, but we were both pretty excited to see that she can do this, because nobody really played for Condemn when she came out. Nobody really understood like the strength of it.
Yeah, it's very much a playstyle that you popularized on the killer, I would say.
I may have had a hand in that, perhaps.
Maybe a little bit, just a crumb, yeah.
Perhaps.
But yeah, I would say I'm kind of the same with like, just new content in Dead by Daylight. If a new chapter comes out, like I'll get it, I'll try them, and usually I bounce off it. Like I play Nemesis, that's usually my whole thing. But with Sadako, and I personally really don't enjoy playing her, but I do want to ask, like, with the first Mori thing, being the custom, like, love at first Mori, as you said, when did you fully decide to start maining the killer?
I think it all did start with that custom game where it was love at first Mori, but as I played her bit by bit and continued to explore and develop the strategy, it just became a more intense passion game by game. The map control with the TVs, just remembering which TV is about to turn on, predicting when people are going to deposit the tape across the map and click one button to instantly teleport there and intercept them. The speed which you fly from the TV, not having to hook, there's just so much love. It's like the whole another world playing Onryo.
So it is like an M1 killer, but it's just like, it's so different of an M1 killer that it doesn't like really feel like constrained in the same way as like Trapper or something.
Yeah, and she is pretty macro heavy. Yes, she's an M1 killer. Her chase is pretty doo-doo, but and that's where you really gotta carry the game with Condemn. Unfortunately, in this current iteration, her counter is very solid, and so that's why I haven't played her as much recently. Yeah, I still play her. I played a game with her last night and Mori'd everybody up and had a real good time.
And is the Mori just kind of something that you really enjoy about killers? Like, would you say that's like a OnePumpWillie, like, this is probably something I need to main a killer more so, I'd say? Because I raided you last night, and you've been doing a Pyramid Head streak for anyone unaware of that, and you were playing Unknown and then Pyramid Head, and then so is like the built-in Mori kind of a OnePumpWillie like flavor thing that you really like?
Well, I haven't thought about too much since you mentioned it, but I guess subconsciously, yes. I the name One Pump does come from Fortnite, where you shoot one shot and get one kill, and that's just my favorite playstyle in games, is the high risk, high reward glass cannon. One and done. And with Onryo and Tombstone Mikey, we do get the nice little one and done effect. I must say, it does tickle my fancy.
Did you know that she had that when you like first got her, or was it just kind of like a coincidental thing because you enjoy the one-shot playstyle? Was there an initial appeal to Sadako, or was it just like kind of the cycle of, well, this is new, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna try it out?
Yeah, it was actually very much so like that. I didn't realize what her power did at first. I just got her because I really love DVD, and I knew that I wanted all the killer perks, even if I wasn't like super into the killer. But it was only after I actually got into Onryo that I watched the movie, and I have the book sitting in my closet. I haven't read it since I've been no-lifing the heck out of DVD.
Of course. So you'd say that you enjoy DBD a lot, and like, of course, there is the Mori, but is there anything in particular about Sadako that you really, really enjoy, or is the Mori like the number one thing along with the map traversal, or is it like some other secret third thing that's your favorite?
It's definitely the Mori takes the cake for me, but there's icing all over that cake, and there's even some birthday candles on it too, with the just the sheer speed that she comes out of the TV. In this current version, a bit of her movement speed has been added into the base kit from Bloody Fingernails. It increases the duration in which your movement speed lasts when you fly out of a TV, and the zooms you can get, especially if you pair it with like Play With Your Food or Coup, it's downright silly. I love it very much. And one last thing is that her sound design is actually really, really awesome. I just realized that when you're carrying a survivor, from their POV, you can hear so she does a bunch of static stuff, right? And there's violins, and her chase music tries to invoke a feeling of, I don't know, flies or something like that, which relates to her a bit in the movies. But a really cool thing that I noticed that the developers kind of went above and beyond for is that when you're carrying a survivor from the survivor's POV, there's a very calm, like ocean wave type of static going on, and it's hard to explain, but if you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I just think it's really cool sound design. That's it.
That is really cool. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
And I was gonna actually also bring up, because the Bloody Fingernails, that's an add-on, you know, that's your never leave home without it type add-on.
Yes, sir.
I do want to ask though, just because I'm not super duper familiar with Sadako and her add-ons, but how do you feel about the add-ons, like strength-wise, balance-wise? You think they're over or under-tuned? And like, what are your favorite add-ons to run?
That's a really good question, especially since Pyramid Head just got his add-on rework and they knocked it out of the park. I think they did a phenomenal job with the add-ons. That even put decent constrictions, or rather limitations, on the Eerie add-ons to make sure that they're not too strong. They have negative connotations to them. Whereas with Onryos, all right, I'm going to be a little bit sad for a second.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's I'll get over it. I go to therapy for these things. But behavior, they changed the iridescent videotape from Onryo, and it was my favorite add-on in Dead by Daylight, hands down, and it was many other people's too. Basically, it turned you into a different beast. Every time you hit someone within 8 seconds of manifesting, it would reset the last 4 TVs you TP'd to, which would mean insane uptime and map traversal. You just TP hit, TP hit, TP hit, TP hit, TP hit, nonstop. Your TVs are always on. And it was also paired with a very lovely bong sound effect whenever you hit them. And they completely took it away. They shafted it. They reworked a couple of our add-ons. They obviously wanted to steer a little bit away from condemn, but condemn is the core of the killer for me. And why I praise the Pyramid Head add-ons is because all of these add-ons are directly affecting his core power, which is his shockwave attack. And there's just not that many condemn related add-ons. You've got ring drawing and let me think, and that's basically it. Tape editing deck is really, really bad, so that's not an option. Yeah, it's just a little unfortunate that she's got only one actual condemn related add-on. Everything else is a bunch of like trivial effects, and I kind of understand that, because just being able to Mori somebody is a pretty strong prospect. That being said, the counter to it is also really easy, and I prefer OG Onryo because I had to think more, and not only did survivors have to think more, but in current version Onryo, it's a pub stomp. You're either pub stomping because players literally don't know how to pick up a tape, and it's the easiest game of your life, or they know how to pick up a tape, and well, if everybody in the lobby knows how to pick up a tape, it's insanely easier to counter her. But I digress.
And she is one of those killers that's had like a lot of updates over the years, like a Skull Merchant, like a Onryo, like these killers that have been changed like a lot. Do you feel that, obviously you're not the biggest fan of this one compared to like the OG or something, because that's what you fell in love with, of course, but do you think that the changes have been, I don't know how to say it, like softly, I guess, but do you think they've been good for her and the game as a whole, or do you think like it's just kind of been overall negative and more of a...
That's a good question. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I do think that they have been going in a good, healthy direction for her and survivors as a whole. I just think that they are just slightly off the mark with this third version of hers. Her second version was definitely her worst by far. I'm so glad that they came up with this third version of hers. It's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Like her first version was pretty good. The second version was definitely too cold. This third version, it might be just right. Actually, the first version was probably too hot. Yeah, if the versions were all bowls of porridge.
Yeah.
This third version is so close to being the perfect bowl of porridge. We just need a little bit of, honestly, the only change I would make is bring back passive condemn from one of the other versions. The first version, every 24 seconds, while you're holding onto a tape, you gain 1 stack of condemn. This just adds a clock and prevents people from just greeting by holding onto the cursed videotape. It actually curses you over time. I thought that was cool, and it also enabled a fun play style where you could just watch people panic, and you could sit up on top of high ground and see somebody with the tape, and you know where their target TV is, and like they don't want you to see them, even though you know where they are, and so they try and hide, and they just build condemn, and they panic, and you just watch their mind fall into shatters. And it's a marvelous thing. So either passive condemn from the first version or the second version introduced the ability to destroy the tape on hit. A lot of survivors did not enjoy this because it enabled more of a hit and run play style. I think the passive condemn from the first style is more lore accurate. You get to stalk people with Onryo. That's pretty cool. The second version could work too, where you build a little bit of condemn and destroy the tape on hit. I would take either one, but she needs one of those mechanics in order to counter how lightning fast it is to interact with tapes currently. It's only a 1 second animation.
And you can do that in like the cooldown of getting hit.
Yes, I mean, I'm not saying it's because of me, but they didn't like 8 stacks to Biffle Onryo 2-tapping people at their target TV. I'll just say that. And so they made it where you can't do that anymore by making the tape interaction the literal fastest killer interaction in all of DBD.
And that's saying something, because there are some fast interactions.
Yes, sir.
I actually, before my next question, I do have a little story about that from my
So please share.
from my friend Kurta, who is a Yuichi main, actually, coincidentally enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was like the day of, it was like really soon after Onryo's second version came out. And like, you know how updates work, like people don't read patch notes, guilty if it doesn't affect me. So back in the day, right after they just introduced the destroy tape on hit mechanic, she was turning in a tape. She got hit mid-animation. She got the 2 stacks from it. And then, you know, she was like, oh, okay, well, I just have to turn in my tape again. But because it got destroyed and this was a new mechanic, she pulled another tape out of the TV, got hit again, got another 2 stacks, got condemned, and just died, like, right in front of me.
So, that's the worst.
It was, I'm sorry, like, it was terrible for her, I'm sure, but I was crying laughing. It was so fucking funny. Like, she went from, like, fine to dead in, like, 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh my god.
That's crazy.
Read the patch notes. That's the moral of the story.
That does remind me, but it was like 1 week before they changed her, but I discovered was it old Ultimate Weapon? Yes, it was. Old Ultimate Weapon and Stabiffle that I could like fully deny someone from depositing their tape, even with like the tape interaction buff, I think. I would like search a locker, have 8 stacks Stabiffle. With old Ultimate, when they see you in your terror radius, you scream. And when you manifest, it takes like a second before your terror radius is actually revealed again. And so at the target TV, I would manifest, hit them really quick with Stabiffle, and then my terror radius would become unsuppressed, making them scream, interrupting them, and then I would hit them a second time with 8 stacks to Biffle.
So you got around the whole, like, behavior doesn't want me to do this thing anyway.
Yes, but then they changed Ultimate Weapon.
Okay, well.
So, yeah, that was cool for, like, I literally did it once. I remember it was on Zarina and Larry's. That's it. It was fun, though.
That poor Zarina and Larry's. And just, it's so naturally coming. But, like, let's just say, like, if you had complete executive control over what you would do to Sadako, what would be, like, the ideal changes you would make to her to be like, this is the perfect Onryo?
Okay, well, I would bring back old OG Eerie videotape, but because it probably maybe should be nerfed, even though I don't personally think that, since I'm heavily biased, we could just cut it in half, give it 100% nerf. Instead of it returning 4 TVs, make it return the last 2 that you turned on.
Okay.
Bring back the sound effects with that tape, and then we're good. Maybe change a couple of other add-ons to be condemn related. That would be cool. I'm trying to scratch my head. I'm not sure. Like maybe like when somebody cleanses a hex totem, they get a stack of condemn. I don't know.
That'd be really interesting though, because I don't think there's a lot of like add-ons that are related to very specific perks.
Yeah, and she is a hex totem enjoyer. She's relatively capable of keeping up a network of totems with her TVs, and definitely Face the Darkness. She's a huge Face the Darkness enjoyer. Love that perk. But yeah, I would maybe just give her a couple of more condemn related add-ons that spice things up and add a little bit of passive condemn, either the first version's passive condemn or the destroy tape on hit, either one. And she should be golden, honestly, then.
And if they add tape on hit, make sure you check those patch notes, fellas.
Well, dude, they changed her so many times. Like, I came across a 10K hour survivor once upon a time that had no idea how to counter her, and he was obviously a very skilled ace. He just, I thought he was greeting condemn on purpose because he gave himself a heartbeat. And in stream, I'm thinking, oh, this ace is good. He just gave himself a heartbeat. Is he baiting me? Is he trying to take chase? And then he came in stream afterwards. He's like, no, I just didn't realize where to put my tape. So it's not just beginners. Advanced players, like, behavior had changed her so many times, and now Onryo hasn't been changed in a while, but there was a time where people didn't even know what was going on.
She was getting changed a lot.
Yeah.
And is there any like general advice, like even for that 10K hour ace? Because like until they add like actual tutorials into the game, people aren't really gonna know what every killer does, just because there's so many. Like there's 40 as of Springtraps release. But like if you had just a general bit of advice you would give to like a new player that's like, hey, you know, I love horceror and this OnePumpWillie guy, how do I beat Sadako? What would you tell that guy?
All right, here's how to beat Onryo. It's actually really easy. Here, I'll explain it in like 1 minute tops. Okay, so you can now see when you're within range of a condemned TV that's powered on. It will be a white aura through the wall. So when you go to start working on a gen at the beginning of the game, look around. If you see a white TV, go turn it off. It takes literally 1 second. And the only downside is you can't use your item. That won't even give you a stack of condemn. It gives you 1 tape. Now, let's just say you wanted to go and deposit this tape. You've turned off 1 TV by picking up the tape. You can run, as you're running to your target TV, which is across the map, you can turn off 3 extra TVs. And every time you turn off a TV, it makes her cooldown for that TV longer than if she were to TP to it. So it's really good for survivors to turn it off. And then when you deposit your tape in the 5th TV that you're interacting with, you've only gained 3 stacks of condemn, actually, and you relieve 3 stacks of condemn when you deposit. So you can essentially turn off 5 TVs for an extended period of time with 0 downside.
And then she's just an M1 killer.
Yeah, you could just run around shutting off TVs, but you don't have to do that. Personally, I just turn off the one where I'm working on the gen. If she comes to the gen I'm working on, you loop in that area where the TV's been turned off. If you need to connect to other areas of the map, just pay attention when you see a white aura TV pop on and look behind and chase. If she demanifests and teleport, immediately double back because she's trying to build condemn on you. And that's how you beat Onryo. That's it.
Turn off her map mobility, and then suddenly she can't do any map mobility stuff. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's good advice, unironically, because, like, I would say most of the time it's just, like, I go to my gen, I see a TV nearby, I turn that off, and then I do my gen, you know? Like, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Now, a little bit earlier, we were talking about, like, Face the Darkness and hexes and potential add-on changes, but I do want to talk a little bit about perks, because people are always going to ask, like, hey, what do I run? I'm sure you get this a lot. Hey, what do I run on Sadako? Hey, what's the best on Sadako? Blah, 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 blah. But, like, what perks do you run specifically? Like, is there a OnePumpWillie TM build? And do you think that there is a perk that Sadako uses better than literally every other killer in the game? Like, do you think there is a Sadako perk?
If I had to say there was a Sadako perk, it would probably be Face the Darkness. I think she uses that perk better than anybody else in the game, specifically because her map traversal is instantaneous and the scream from Face the Darkness doesn't last that long. And so she's able to immediately pressure that target if she wants. And it's frequent screams every 25 seconds on 3 people besides the Face the Darkness target you tied the totem to. And you also don't have a terror radius when you're demanifested, so walking around the map won't interrupt the cycle of the screams. So it has a very good amount of synergy with her. I like running that with, you gotta run Corrupt Intervention, because for whatever reason, your power doesn't come on, the TVs don't come on for 30 seconds.
That's interesting.
I don't know why. Maybe they think Onryo is like terrifying. I mean, she does have an instantaneous map-wide TP, so maybe they're just afraid that she's going to get the ball rolling too quickly. But yeah, it doesn't come on for 30 seconds, so you definitely want Corrupt. And Sloppy Butcher is very, very good, especially for early game. I like pairing Corrupt with Face the Darkness, Sloppy, and Ruin. If you don't want to run Face the Darkness, you can run Surge. Or if you don't want to run Ruin, you can run Surge instead of that. But I would definitely go for an early game focus build with like Ruin, Sloppy, Corrupt, and you just get split hits early game. Keep your Corrupt up. They're forced to work on 4 gens, which corrals them to those TVs. And so you can ensure that you're teleporting to those 4, shutting those off, controlling those TV spawns, building condemn on them consistently, not allowing them to pick up tapes, and getting split hits in with Sloppy Butcher, building up as much condemn as you can early game, pushing them off the gens with Ruin. And the idea is just to get a super nice lead early game.
And playing the like condemn mini game, as you called it.
Yes. Or if you like the hit and run playstyle more, you can just have Face the Darkness up and keep TPing until you get a heartbeat and GG.
Yeah. And then they die. So it's not a super intensive killer as far as this type of thing goes, you know, like other killers like Wesker or Old Blight or stuff like that, or even Ghoul if you want to say that. But like, does your killer have any specific like techniques that are maybe less known? And I'm saying it's like maybe not as applicable just because like she is an M1 killer. Like there's nothing like, you're not going to slide off a wall, go around at like 400 degrees, smack someone in the side of the head. Like, is there anything like technique wise that's maybe learned on Sadako?
Yeah. Yes. The one cool tech that you can do is the manifest mind game. That's about the biggest, coolest one. And if you play Onryo, when you manifest, if you pay attention to your hands, she has the passive phasing thing going on, similar to Spirit, only it's different. It's like she phases in and out of existence, like it's like a sine wave, which ties back to the ocean sound bite that I was talking about earlier, which is it's just a cool little touch. And so she phases like a sine wave. If you're picturing a graph, it's not just like on off like you're flicking a switch and it's immediate. It's more gradual. It's a flow. It's like on off on, like that. And so a good Onryo will practice the timing of when she's phasing in and out of existence, and you use this to double back and create a mind game. And it's actually very effective and very fun, and I've been enjoying practicing it. And there are a couple of different like things you can do it. Like you can do a no mind game, you can do a mind game, you can do a double back mind game. Yeah, there's different applications. You can use the passive phasing and do all sorts of just weird movements with it and catch people off guard.
Yeah, the Dredge player, KMD, right before this was actually talking about very similarly. It's like, that's part of why they enjoy the killer, is because it's like the mind game killer.
Yes.
And that's just like part of the general play style, absolutely.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this though. Like, so can you control when you go invisible, or is that just like...
You can, yes.
Really?
So the window of invisibility it's like a 1.2 or 1.5 window. When you're demanifested, the window of invisibility is a bit longer. You can control it. So you start your chases demanifested, and this also allows you to instantly react. And if you see somebody trying to interact with a TV, since you're already in demanifested state, you can instantly TP there. You need to be demanifested to TP, manifested to do damage. So I have a habit where I just baseline, I'm always walking around demanifested. When I walk up to a survivor and I'm preparing for a hit, like if they have control of the palette, or if I have control of the palette and we're kind of just waiting to see who makes the move first, that is when you start a manifest mind game, and you begin to manifest walking one direction, and the second that your character model goes invisible, you double back the other way, and in the survivor's mind's eye, you've continued walking one direction, and they don't catch the double back, so they run into you.
Yeah, and they can't tell because you're invisible, so... Yeah,
and you can make that mind game even stronger with the old newspaper, and makes that window of invisibility 33% longer.
That's a long time, yeah.
So good players, it's a brown add-on, very good brown add-on. I like running it with the bloody fingernails, and you just mind game good players, and they lose because you're invisible.
Because you're invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally enjoy too much the playing against Sadako just because of the whole invisibility thing, and like I feel like I kind of get like, I suck at Survivor. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's one of those things, like I can't hear very well, and then like they take away my sight. It's like, well, I guess I'll die, you know?
Damn.
Do you ever play any Survivor?
I do. I was forced to do an Adept yesterday, actually. It was the first game sucked, but the second game was Michael Myers on RPD. And I got to be a survivor on RPD, and I got to experience W Key City as the W Keyer themselves. It was very broken and quite enjoyable.
Yeah, but I did want to ask that though, like, if you play enough Survivor to have gotten to the point where you play against your main, like, how do those games usually go for you? Like, do you enjoy playing against the Onryo, and just like, why or why not?
Yeah, I think I used to enjoy going against her more back in the day when her counter was a little bit more in depth. It's just so simple. It's taken away the enjoyment for me, but I do enjoy going against Onryo and trying to counter. And I usually just try and give myself a red ring of death heartbeat and just bait her into as long as a chase I can take. If you don't like going against Onryo, that's one of my recommendations, because you could even carry the game if you just give yourself a red heartbeat. Most Onryos are not going to be able to resist that. You also give off killer instinct so they know where you're at, and you could just take her to like a safe place of the map and try and last as long as you can. And if she de-manifests to try and trigger a manifest mind game, you can phase through her, so you can like take the window if she's body blocking it, or maybe just W to and connect to a different tile, since she slows down when she has to manifest. That is how you counter her manifest mind game.
And that is another thing, if people don't know that, is that when she's demanifested, she can just walk through you.
Yes, so body blocks are a little bit difficult. If you want to help your teammate that is being pursued by Onryo, the honest best option you can do is turn off all of her TVs to prevent her from cutting them off, especially if they're trying to deposit their tape. It's a bit trickier, but if you could figure out where your teammate's trying to deposit their tape and turn that off, that's the best way to keep them alive.
Absolutely. And while keeping your teammate alive, I would say that Onryo is definitely, as you said much earlier, that she's very much a pub stomping killer. If the survivor doesn't know how to interact with the power is going to be a lot stronger. Shocker.
Yeah.
But what would you say, like, for Survivor when playing against the Onryo is going to be, like, the most frustrating part for them? Because I can say, personally, I would probably say, like, if other people don't know what they're doing, then, like, you're going to have a corpse in, like, 30 seconds, right?
Yes.
What's frustrating about her?
Yeah, 30-second corpses are probably not good if you're on the same team as a 30-second corpse.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on a team with a 30-second corpse in general. That makes sense to me. I would also say one of her strengths, and what even can catch me off guard, is that when she TPs, okay, so like even Wraith, you can kind of track. Not really, but like he shimmers a bit. If you're on 4-man comms, like you can call out, oh, I see him, he's heading towards Shack. It's harder to track Wraith, but like you kind of can. With Onryo, I'm trying to think if there's any other killers that are like insanely hard to track. Even Ghosty, dude, you could just have one person follow him around and break him out.
I mean, if you see him, yeah.
Yeah, but with Onryo, I think she's like one of the few killers where, dude, when she teleports, you have no idea where she's at.
Where'd she go?
Unless you're trying to infer based, like if you saw her right before she teleported and you know the direction she's looking at when she teleports, similar to Nurse, like the direction she's looking is the direction that she's going to TP to. Good players get caught off guard because it doesn't matter if you have the heartbeat on your screen. If you don't know which direction she's coming from, you don't know which direction to pre-run.
Oh, man.
So I'd say that is a big thing.
No pre-running? Dang, that's crazy. You have to play the loop.
Yep.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, my last question about Survivor stuff, from a Survivor point of view at least, is just like, say the little guy earlier that you were teaching how to counter the Onryo, but they were like, okay, I really hate the Onryo. I'm going to bring a perk that directly counters her.
Oh.
Is there anything that like Face the Darkness is Sadako's perk? Is there like an anti-Sadako perk?
For the people with Wiglif is pain, because
welcome back, fuckle up.
You try so hard to chase and commit to your condemn target, and it's not an easy chase if they're decent, because you're Onryo, you're not super powerful in chase, so it takes you a long time, and you probably have to melt through a bunch of pallets to finally get to that target. And when you finally down them, when Zarina's ass comes in with For the People Wiglif and instantly brings them back up again, things are not good. Things are not good.
That's frustrating, yeah. Now, as far as frustrations go, Dead by Daylight. and then I end it there. But no, realistically, being a licensed killer, I'm sure you can relate to this, but with cosmetic choices and just in general not getting a lot of them because of how licensing works, how do you feel about Sadako's cosmetic options? And do you think they have enough or not enough? And I don't know, if there's like a specific skin you would want made, like say you had full executive control, what would you do and what would you give Sadako? Oh, and of course, what do you enjoy cosmetically?
Okay. Initially, we started off with the Rotten Remains. That was the only skin she had on release. It's the only skin she had for a really long time. They recently came out with the Red Flower skin from the mobile version, which is very pretty. It might be my favorite skin. Her fingernails do look like bugles, though. Take that as you will. But they also added a blighted skin. That one's pretty cool. I like how all the skins change the color of her attack. It's very pretty. But I gotta say, my favorite skin's just gotta be Rotten Remains, because OG, Goop skin, and also her dangling, like, half-broken jaw. It's got jiggle physics. So her jaw's got jiggle physics. So there's that. Yeah. And if I had to add a skin in, I'm not sure. Maybe like what she looked like when she was like mortal.
Like the one from the flashback in the movie.
That would be pretty creepy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Before she fell down in the well.
But speaking of wells, there's this place that you might have heard called Borgo that has a well on it. And Borgo is a map in the game of Dead by Daylight. So, maps.
Yeah.
What is your favorite map to play on as the Onryo, and what is your least favorite map to play on as the Onryo? And are these the same as their best and worst maps?
Good question. Honestly, her favorite maps for me are probably just like my favorite maps in general, just because they're like balanced, competitive, and well-designed maps. I would say Yomoka, Sanctum of Wrath, because we have the central main building overlooking the entire map. We have a nice spread out gen split, very nice and spread, evenly spread. You can sit on top of high ground and survey everything, and you can find people doing tape runs. It's just super, super nice. Whenever that main TV comes on, you can just TP up there and just gain so much information. It's ridiculous. As far as indoor maps go, my favorite map's probably the game, because it is such a resource dense area. You can get a lot of manifest mind games, and I do think that is a decently designed killer map. I would prefer personally smaller resource dense maps compared to just dead space large open maps where survivors are able to stealth. It takes forever to start a chase. With the game, you get to the action quick. You can get into the nitty gritty chase mechanics with all these pallets and the killer powers, and being able to outplay the pallets. And I've heard that some people tend to have, or some killers tend to have problems on the game, but I don't think Onryo does.
Can't relate personally, but
yeah,
I really love Gideon. I'm sure you can infer why.
Yes, as Nemesis in the SmackDown, I do see the SmackDown coming with Nemesis. I just think the game is a nice design map. There's not many bug spots. Yeah, I just think it's a good map.
And what about your least favorite? Just like anything in general, like a specific name?
Oh, Eerie of Crows. Fuck Eerie of Crows. Sorry. F Eerie of Crows.
Okay.
F it.
F it.
It has base kit lightweight. Survivors have a free 5th perk on that map since they're running on the sand, so that's pretty cool.
We'll get the accessibility change to change our scratch mark color eventually, trust.
Yeah, and visually Eerie of Crows just looks like blah, like it's all the same color, just not visually appealing to me. It doesn't play well for Onryo. In the past, they have fixed it a little bit with the killer belonging chest system change thing that they recently did, but in the past, Eerie of Crows TVs spawned nowhere near their paired generators, and so it was by far her worst map. Eerie of Crows is just horrible for Onryo. Horrible.
Pork found in kitchen, it's a bad map for everyone.
Yes, especially for Onryo.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ugh.
And you just mentioned this when we were talking about Gideon, it being a non-bugged map, but as killers in Dead by Daylight, I'm sure you're familiar with, are occasionally having bugs. So does the Onryo have any bugs that are like maybe kind of crippling to her as a character? I don't play this character. I don't know what's going on. But I haven't heard of like anything like Twins level. Is she bugged at all? Is there anything that you should worry about if you are trying to play Sadako?
Fortunately, all of the bugs that I'm aware of currently are visual bugs. And they're kind of cool. Like there's one in a custom game where, you know how she like passively phases. When she flickers, her skin changes. And so she's like, you see her flickering and she's wearing different skins when she flickers. It's kind of cool.
Does it go to a random skin or is it just always default?
I think it was just one. I think it was just Rotten Remains and random. I think that's what it like flickers between, but it could be dependent upon like what skin you recently had on. I'm not sure how the glitch works entirely.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, but I don't think there's too. It's mostly visual bugs. She recently had a visual bug that was just fixed, so that's good. There's no more red arrows above every single TV throughout the entire map. That was kind of annoying.
Oh, did she have like the Freddy thing, just like permanently?
Yes, even if the TVs were off. So you're just constantly seeing an overwhelming amount of red arrows for no reason the entire game. I mean, it was kind of nice to know where your TVs are, but it's just a bit overstimulating.
And like, it's not necessarily in the game, as you just said, they got rid of it, but that is something you disliked about Sadako. But if you had to like say something was your least favorite part of the killer, because like we all have one, what do you dislike the absolute most about her?
Oh, Well, I would say that it's her poor chase, but I understand that her chase needs to be limited with how strong condemn is. So I can't really say that her poor chase is my least favorite part, especially since they added in the ability to not be stunned while demanifested. That was a nice little teeny buff that they gave to chase. I would have to say like my least favorite thing with her right now is just how fast it is to interact with a TV and how free it is to just shut off her power and run around the map, turn off multiple TVs. You can turn off 5 and you're fine. I think her counter is a little bit too strong, too accessible, too easy. It would be okay if it was this strong. Just maybe like make the tape interaction. I literally am just asking for what 20 milliseconds, well, like 1.2 second tape interact, just 0.2 seconds extra. Sometimes like I'm just so close. That 1 second tape interaction really is lightning fast, and sometimes I'm just literally a half second off of being able to intercept somebody or something like that. And I don't need the 2 second tape interaction. I think the 1 is a bit much though. It's 100% nerf from 2 seconds to 1 second. I'd like something in the middle, like 1.5, 1.2. I think that'd be okay. Somewhere around there honestly would be much better.
And we've been talking about you like enjoying the playstyle of the killer a lot, obviously, because that's the whole point of the video. But we brought this up like as kind of an offhand comment. How do you feel about her extended lore and just like her story and character as a whole? You've watched the movie, you said you liked it, you've started the book, but you've been busy with DVD. Do you enjoy her as a character?
Yeah, and I didn't expect that I would at first. DVD really is the reason why, like, yes, not only do I love her, but I now love her for who she is, or rather like the lack of who she is. She's a very mysterious character. She doesn't really talk. Her origin is a little muddy, especially with like how her mom is tied into everything. That's where we think like her psychic powers coming from is from her mom. And the scenes in the movie are just so mysterious and cinematic, and there's just something about her. You can't just quite put your finger on it, and it's really the mystery of Sadako is what's interesting, I think.
Yeah, because they don't really explain a whole lot in the movie, because that's the whole point of horror, is that you don't know what's going on. It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, and I think they capitalize on that well, especially with the cursed videotape. You're like, what am I watching? And there was one scene, quick spoilers if you haven't seen Ring.
Also, by the way, if you haven't seen Ring, it is on YouTube for free, so you have no excuse. Go watch it.
Yeah. There's different versions. Both versions have different. So I have watched the American and the Japanese version. I think the American version has better acting, more cinematic scenes. For example, like there's one scene where they're watching the cursed tape and there's a fly in the video, and the closer she looks closer and closer and closer, and she reaches up to the screen and she plucks the fly out of the screen, and it's just a very raw moment. And there's a few more scenes in the movie that are pretty cinematic, whereas the Japanese one, I don't necessarily think as good acting, so I don't necessarily think it's like as good as a movie per se, but I still enjoyed and respected it just equally as much. And if anything, there's actually a bunch more lore details in the Japanese version that I appreciated. So the American one, I think, is just more of like an entertaining watch, and the Japanese one's more of like, oh, this is a little bit more of the lore.
And it's more of the cornerstone of horror type deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like not a Ringu super fan or anything, but you're like a pretty big fan of Ring.
Yeah, I'd say she's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And as a fan of Ring, I want to also ask about other fans of Ring, Sadako, the character, whatever. But how frequently do you really like run into people that really enjoy Sadako or playing against Sadako? And just like, what do you feel the average opinion on the killer is? Like from survivor point of views, other killer point of views, like what is the community's thoughts and feelings? And just as a Sadako main, what is the general vibe towards you as a Sadako player?
Good question, because it used to be, I hate Onryo, I hate going against Onryo, and people didn't really like me as a person for playing Onryo. She did used to really enjoy slugging, and it just happened to be optimal with ring drawing. And so a lot of people know me as a slugger, and I'm not trying to be toxic. That's just how like she was meant to be played with ring drawing back in the day. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people have a sour taste from Onryo, a little bit from that, similar to like Skull Merchant, only like Onryo's been changed enough that she's not problematic anymore, and she is in a healthier position now. So like you can play Onryo or I can play Onryo, and you're probably not going to get the same amount of hate as you would in the past. That being said, I do think she's kind of a forgotten killer, whereas like a lot of people have been talking about, oh, they gutted Skull Merchant, oh, they gutted Chucky, this and that, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Onryo, I'm like, bro, I feel like, do we not remember that they kind of gutted her a little bit with like how easy it is to counter her? I don't know. She's in a healthier spot right now, but she's just not like in a interesting spot, I would say.
She got watered down a little bit, which is very ironic considering her origins.
Well.
But yeah, after all that, like watering down and just kind of changing them and making it easier to counter, but how strong do you think she is now, really? And you don't necessarily just have to say like, oh, she's S tier because I said so and I'm the greatest Onryo player of all time. Just based on your experience and reasoning and everything you know about her and like the hundreds and thousands maybe of hours that you have played on Sadako, how good do you think she is?
And that is where my problem is because how well she performs is more dependent on whether the survivors interact with your TVs or not. It's not even like how good you are on Onryo or how good they are at looping or being a survivor. It's just like, can they turn off a TV? That's it. Can they turn off a TV? If most people on the team know how to turn off a TV, which is a one-click button, it's a big glowing TV, you just click a button, then you're probably going to win. But if most people don't know, then they're probably going to lose. And that's what it boils down to, unfortunately, for me.
It's like Vecna, I would say, kind of, in like that it's just a knowledge check killer, right?
Yeah, I mean, she is super fun, and yes, most of your games, honestly, you'll do pretty well, but it is quite frustrating, like especially if you're trying to go on a win streak or something, and you go against a slightly competent team that's turning off TVs. You don't have a power at all. It's painful. It's painful.
And you do win streaks, speaking of that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, again, like you've been doing the Executioner one recently, but on Sadako specifically, how do win streaks usually go? Like, do you have a win streak you've done? Do you enjoy win streaking? And just like, tell me all about it.
Yeah, I used to win streak on her back when I was really into her, and we got to 409.
Sheesh.
Which is my highest streak on Onryo, and that was with good old Gen Kick before the 8 kick limit. That's a different discussion in itself. Anyways, we just did Gen Kick build with Onryo, and the name of the game was just ramp up condemn and delay them from popping gens as long as possible, because back in the day it was actually so much harder to build condemn. The interesting thing is that it is so easy to build condemn today, because back in the day when you teleported, it didn't give condemn to every single online TV. It was just 16 meters of the one that you TP'd to. So it took a really long time to build condemn, but fortunately the 8 kick limit wasn't introduced. Call of Brine was strong. Overcharge was strong. You had good gen regression. And so in order to win as Onryo, you basically had to manipulate the clocks. You had to slow down the survivor clock with the gen perks. And I mean, your condemn clock, it takes forever. So like, it was like a necessary evil. You just got to slow down the gens to build up condemn in the past. But it was a very effective strategy. And now I've tried run streaking her in this current version. I think the highest I got to is 80. All it took was one good team on Ormond. I remember, I think it was against Scooty Booty, actually.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if they were Swiffing or not, but
I could probably ask.
Yeah, they just shut down my power, and it hurt. I felt powerless. I felt like I didn't really have any options or different decisions that I can make. What I like about DBD is that when I lose, usually it's because I messed up, and I can take that info, I can take my mistakes from the game, I can improve upon them. The next game I come back a little bit better. But with this current version of Onryo, her counter is so ingrained and simplified and accessible. You really feel powerless. You really feel like, wow, there's physically nothing I can do because it takes 5 seconds to teleport. So in theory, at the beginning of the game, you teleport once. If survivors are smart, they should be each spread out next to their own TVs waiting to pick up a tape as it turns on. You can intercept up to 1 survivor and the other 3 get tapes. And then you're just chasing 1 survivor. You're not going to be able to build mass condemn on those 3. Those 3 survivors are going to be split on 3 gens early game. So you have to go pressure them, and you're just an M1 killer. You're going to lose if they're good.
So winstreaking is a little tougher nowadays.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. And intercepting tape runs is just so important. It's just so important because it is a clock. It is a clock. It takes time to build condemn. It takes time for them to relieve condemn and work on gens. And the more tapes they do, the more likely you're going to lose. And so if you're literally like a half a second off of a TP, it's very frustrating when that tape interaction is so fast because you think you've timed it well. You think you're like, oh, okay, they're going to be at the TV at this exact moment, but then you're just a half second off. They've already deposited because it's super fast animation, and it's just really hard to catch them in the act and intercept them, and that's where you can really turn the tide. Yeah, that's like how you have to turn the tide, is by intercepting. If you don't intercept people, then you're going to be struggling. It's like an interception in football, like that. It's a game changer.
Yeah, because you steal it from the other team and take the momentum back. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, while talking about turning back the clock, I wanted to ask this a little earlier, but I never really got the opportunity. I want to turn it back way to the very, very beginning, before Sadako even. I want to ask you, what got you into Dead by Daylight as a game? And just when did you start, and how'd you get here?
My cousin introduced me on Xbox. W cousin, shout out to Johnny. Love you, bro. He was like, hey, you should try this game. And I did. And I remember one of my first games was on Batum against Doctor. And I remember it's like the burnt orange Mustang. It's kind of rusty. I was just looping around that. And he kept on zapping me, losing Bloodlust. I didn't even realize what Bloodlust was at the time, or that he was losing it. But there was no pallet at the car. It was just me, the car, and Doctor. And we were playing Ring Around the Rosie.
And he just kept zapping you, even though there's no pallet?
Yeah, it lasted the entire game. It was my first 5-gen chase, noob Doctor, noob survivor me. And that's when I fell in love with DVD, just playing Ring Around the Rosie.
Because you juiced the Doctor first game, okay. All right. I'm sure he didn't really understand what his power did, but, you know, now that, now that we're going off of that, and, like, maybe there was a couple of misconceptions on how Doctor worked. Maybe he thought it would injure you. As far as misconceptions go, like, about Sadako, I'll say it. You know, I'm not knowledgeable on literally everything in the game. You know, it happens. But are there any, like, common misconceptions about Sadako that you feel are, like, still kind of commonly spread that you want to, like, clear up, and things that people don't understand? And you're just like, okay, hey, let me just, like, sit you down real quick. Let me tell you about this thing that you're incorrect about.
Well, real quick, I do want to say that an iridescent add-on where Dr. Zaps could injure could be kind of cool. Maybe, like, if you hit them 5 times, like, maybe it's like a laceration thing that builds up.
Maybe.
Anyways, any misconceptions about Onryo? No, I feel like, if anything, like, I feel like there's not enough attention on her, whether it's negative or positive. I feel like she's just been forgotten. I don't hear people complaining about her anymore, dude. It's a little sad. It's a little sad. There used to be so many complaining survivors. Now she's just super easy to counter. Yep, I don't really hear any people complaining about her. I don't even hear people complaining, saying that she's underperforming either. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing negative or positive that I'm seeing on social media about her right now. It's just like, I hear that Chucky's been gutted, Skull Merchant's been gutted, and I'm just like, bro, have y'all forgot about Onryo? Because in a healthier spot, but by no means like her final resting place.
There's just a lot of parallels with her Dead by Daylight and her actual, like, lore then. That's kind of crazy. Like, wow, she got forgotten? That's her final resting place? Where have I seen this before? That's weird.
Yes.
But those are, you know, just because of her changes over the years and all the things that have happened. But I also kind of just want to ask, like, how she's kept up. Like, obviously, she's not going to be the strongest killer because of how strong Condemn is inherently. But as far as the game of Dead by Daylight, the things that get changed in it are not just killers. So I want to ask you how she's kind of been enjoying, like, new perks, new maps, new interactions, like, stuff like that that's been added to the game around around her rather than directly to her.
Let me think about that. The new maps, except for the Fallen Refuge from Walking Dead, the new maps are not good for her. The double pallet setup's really punishing on M1 killers. The double pallet that's was introduced in Unknown's map, and now it's in Ormond Lake Mine, and they're starting to introduce it into, I think it's in Fallen Refuge now.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, the double pallets hurt her a little bit. As far as perks, any fun killer perks that have been introduced that have been really interesting on her? Unfortunately, not really, no.
So nothing like crazy good for her as far as like new additions have gone, just kind of been negatives with the double pallet stuff.
No, killer perks, the recent killer perk additions, I'm not like really head over heels for anything.
Yeah, I mean, Springtrap was a cool chapter, don't get me wrong, but perks are kind of underwhelming, yeah.
Haywire, that's 80%, dude. I would only use that on my in-game singularity. And then what else? Phantom Fear. Phantom Fear's cooldown is way too long. It's hard to control. Not my favorite type of info.
I agree.
And then what's his third perk?
I don't even know. That's a good question.
Oh, the Stabiffle machine learning add-on, which is I mean, that could be interesting if you had Stabiffle with it, but it's a perk that survivors control. You don't have control over the machine learning pop or the help wanted pop.
That's kind of why I don't like that type of thing either.
Yeah, there hasn't really been anything that's come up that's like, ooh, this is awesome on her.
Now, as far as things that you do control, you've been playing Sadako a lot, and you've been playing other killers a lot, of course, because that's just, what you've been doing. But I want to ask, if Sadako has given you any specific transferable gameplay skills to other killers, like, do you feel like playing Sadako as much as you have had made you a better player of Dead by Daylight in general? Like, was there anything specific that you learned that you can, like, now take to other killers?
Yes, tracking where survivors are throughout the map and their current movement speed, their sprinting movement speed as they run behind a building, just being able to like invisibly track them without seeing them, from predicting when people are going to deposit their tapes, just like understanding survivor movement speed as they're moving throughout the map is really transferred and helps me with predicting with nurse blinks or going for wall bangs with pyramid head, things of that nature. And it's like, that has definitely been very helpful. Just all the hours I put into Onryo and like just trying to predict and track people behind buildings and stuff has really been helping.
For the interception, because you're trying to get that football.
Yeah, especially on Pyramid Head when you're looping Shack and they're on the backside and you're at the corner, just like knowing how much you need to flick to roughly hit where they're approximately going to be. It's definitely helped me land some shots. And
when we're speaking of where things are going to be, Dead by Daylight is a game. It's lasted 9 years at this point. This recent patch for The Walking Dead, I'm going to say very politely, was not their best patch that they put out, but there has been like a recent tweet, been like much more open about what they're going to be doing now to kind of counteract this patch, because like in plain words, The Walking Dead patch sucked. Like we all know it, like it's no need to mince words about that. But with all these things and behavior's reaction to things and how they work as a company, just in general, how long do you think Dead by Daylight as a game is going to last?
That's a good question. I would definitely hope that it would last as long as possible. From like a marketing perspective, I suppose, I am assuming that it is going to last a long time, because it has already, for first off, it's already made it 9 years. So it shows that they are interested in keeping it alive. And if I were Behavior, I mean, I definitely would be too. It's their most successful game, unless I'm mistaken. And so I think like I want to keep it alive. They definitely want to keep it going. It's been going for 9 years. I remember when Bungie, which is like
they used to do Halo, and now they do Destiny, and then they kind of...
Yeah, they did Destiny, and they made a 10-year plan for Destiny 1. And what do you know? Destiny 2 is out around the corner.
Destiny 3 is around the corner now, even.
Props to Behavior for keeping DBD alive. And, there's been TCM and VHS and these other games that have popped up and disappeared. And Behavior showing that DBD is the Roman Empire currently, and it is not showing any sign of collapsing.
Yeah, like it's even outlasted games like Overwatch. I mean, yeah, Overwatch 2 is out, but like you get the point, like they came out the same year.
Yeah.
It's nice, like it is, really. And like I do love the game, regardless of all the flaws. I do wish things were better on occasion. Like, I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, DBD's perfect, you know, I love it so much. But they mess up and like they move on and they hopefully learn from their mistakes here. And
I think that's an important takeaway that the community should realize as a whole, because I've been seeing some posts on social media where people are like, you know, Jim, the metal beam that was the bug in the loading screen.
Yeah.
They turned that into a badge, right? And some people were celebrating, saying like, oh, Jim's going to be with forever. And I've seen people like quote tweet saying, oh, you guys are supporting these devs. They're never going to give you a good game. It's just going to be buggy. And y'all are never going to get the game that you deserve. But on the contrary, my friend, I think DBD is such a beautiful game that we love it so much, even with all of the bugs, even with the metal beam on the loading screen. That is how much we love DBD, that we will continue playing it, even if it's a buggy mess. Like, that's just how much people love DBD.
Like, obviously they need to fix the bugs, but that's not the point. Like,
yeah, the base game is so good. Even if it is an incredibly buggy game, it's just that good of a game design.
Yeah.
It's just that good that people aren't going to stop playing it. I mean, of course, we would prefer if there were no bugs, but like, yeah, we love DBD no matter what.
And like, even with the beam thing specifically, it's like, it took like an artist like 3 minutes to make that. Like, let's be realistic. Like, that didn't take away from dev time to fix bugs. Like that's someone else that was doing something else. Like, okay, hey, can you do this thing real quick? And it's like, okay, cool, thank you. Then they put it out, you get it for free. It's like, okay, hey, we fucked up, look at this. It's not like this is all you're gonna get, you know?
Yeah, that was a literal 2-minute 2D badge.
And then they put out an 8-minute video, like fully communicating, hey, we fucked up, we're not doing great. Here's our plan to make things better. We're gonna push back content. Like, yeah, that's really good.
We'll see, but that's a good start.
It is a good start. And like, I'll give them more credit when I actually see results, but
yes,
it's still good to have a plan.
Yes, it's a question of how many bugs of all the bugs will be fixed. It's like, what is that percentage?
Yeah.
Like 50%, 70%? 20%.
And like, I can even say like right now, like I can think of like one killer that has like 20 bugs. Night, obviously, because I just finished that video. But you know, it's
who did you do Night with?
Z and Pixie.
Nice.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's cool. I like her. She's nice.
Yeah. And now my final question that I always love asking, because the answers are fun or not fun, depending on how you see it. What would be the last draw for you? What would make you drop Sadako for good? I already know you're playing her less, you know, doing streaks on other killers, other built-in Moris type stuff, but what would be like the, I'm never playing this killer again?
Oh, what would be the last straw? That's a thinker. Let me think for 10 seconds. Okay. My last straw would be if they reworked her again and they made it so she couldn't condemn Mori. That would definitely, I mean, that would be worst case scenario. That would be horrible.
I mean, just from what you've told me, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it's, she's in such a weird spot right now. Like she's so good at building condemn. Like she is so strong. Like she's stronger than she's ever been, but she's also weaker than she's ever been. Her counter is stronger than it's ever been. It's just so, I don't know what the word or analogy I'm looking for is, but it's like feast or famine perhaps is the phrase that I'm looking for, where like if people don't know how to counter, you are going to mop the floor with them. If people know what a TV is, like if they know that there's a tape in that TV and they can click a button on it, you most of the time lose, unless like you're really good. But yeah, it's just too polarizing. It's just like she will just pub stomp most of her games, and then you go against one team that knows what a TV is and you lose. It's just a little bizarre.
So hopefully she gets something that closer to your vision for what the killer should be, less feast or famine, a little longer on the tape putting in, stuff like that.
Yeah, a little bit of penalty on holding onto the tape, a little bit of risk for interacting with that counter, because it's just too free. Like just a little bit of passive condemn. It can be longer than 24 seconds per stack, but just like something to add to the clock that they can relieve. Like they can go turn in the tape and relieve that, but just something like the longer they hold on to it, the worse it gets. That sounds, I mean, and that's also synonymous with the lore for Onryo, you know, like 7 days, the curse gets worse over time.
Yep. Thank you for coming on. That's all I've got now.
Thank you for having me. We just talked about DBD for an hour and 30 minutes, and I'm actually invigorized.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Invigorated, maybe?
Perhaps.
But yeah, usually at the end, I just do this little section where it's my guest time to kind of self-promo if they want, you know, like just, hey, here's all my links, here's something I'm working on, here's what I'm looking forward to, just whatever you want to say here, time is yours.
Oh, sure. Just real quick. I have the highest win streak on Onryo, Michael Myers, Trapper, and now Pyramid Head. We're probably going to do more killers in the future, but I'm just having too much fun with Pyramid Head. I think I can get my streak higher on him. So we're playing Pyramid Head these days. He's been a lot of fun, and especially with his add-on rework. I don't know if you've tried his Iridescent Sniper add-on, but that one's fun. It's actually really hard, and oh man, I could just talk about DBD forever. I won't though. My name's OnePumpWillie, and I like playing Dead by Daylight. I do like both sides, but I tend to play killer just because like it's you just hit ready up and you're in the game and you don't have to worry about XYZ or randoms, stuff like that. But I enjoy both sides of DVD. I just tend to play killer more.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming on, man. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Sure.
And to everyone out there listening, watching, whatever you might be doing to consume this video, thanks for being here. I appreciate you all very much, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, noon, morning, evening, night, whatever it might be. And I hope to catch you in the next one. So
maybe you're watching while eating dinner. Maybe you're watching while...
Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Go check out OnePumpWillie. All the links on your screen and down below.
Much love, dudes.
Have a lovely one. I will catch you in the next one, and bye-bye.
W Nemesis, man.